suppose I should go live too, huh? Go ahead and start doing that. All right. So, thank you everybody for showing up. I'm Tyler Mayer. We're running another training session that I do weekly. Thanks again to Black Shirts for helping out here. As you can see, their names popping up. Sky Episcopal, JJ Beastie, and I didn't catch the other one.
Beats.
Beats. Thank you. So today's topic is going to be over running unusual units. I don't know if that's the right word, but that's what we're going to go ahead and use. So they're not necessarily the key meta, but they're stuff that some of the senior guys have found out, and we get good use out of them. We're also going to go over Fort Brasio. We're going to get 2 takes on that. That's the new pikeman from the new season. And then at the end, I'll probably go over, or I am going to go over how to get experience for your troops and kind of maximize your effort. So first thing we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and start off with my unit. The unit here that I have in yellow on my screen is the Iron Cap spears. And somebody from my team, please bring out a spear wall and set it next to it. Does anybody have one? Yep, there it is. Cool. So you'll notice that there's a change to the Iron Cap spear, and this got ninja patched. I'm not even sure when it happened, but it's been within the last month. You'll notice how wide this is. This is wider than the other shield walls. There we go. And if you can bring those, what are they called? Halberds up, please, and put them under the spear sergeants first. So obviously, in my some of my previous classes, I've talked about how to integrate pike and shield walls together. You can watch those for more details on that. So you'll see right here the how many of the halberds are vulnerable here. He can go line formation, and if you'll go ahead and do that, you can go do line formation in front of him. He'll get full protection across the front and second row, and then he'll have less protection for the back, as you can see right here. So go ahead and move your shields out of the way. The Iron Cap still cannot cover the full distance of the halberds, but as you can see, they're able to fully cover pretty much 2, and if you do the angle trick, which is exactly what it sounds like, right here, if this is the area of threat, you can actually cover about, I don't know what, a little over half. And then this gives you also better shelter behind for range units. If you imagine these spear sergeants were a range unit to protect the bad guys over there in red. So what else why did I start doing these? Not because they're good, because the meta is, let me open up my, I can't open up, I forgot I can't do it in game. So for those of you that are out, you can open up the barracks and look down the training line. They're in line with the Imperial Spear Guards. The meta is either to have those or the Spear Sergeants, which somebody back there has. So they are not better than them, but they do only cost somebody who can open it up, if there's anybody available. 175, I think, is the leadership. And at the
For
end,
halberds?
no, I'm sorry, for the Iron Cap spears. I actually wrote it down.
175.
175, thank you. I actually wrote down all the stats on them, but they aren't. I left the piece of paper at work, so I left that notepad at work. So at the end, I'll pull it open, and show you the trees on them. I should have done that beforehand. I guess going forward in future videos, we'll do that beforehand. The key that I like about them is that you can actually get them to have higher hit points than the Imperial Spear Guards or the Spear Sergeants. If you go down to a wonky tree, I don't think it's the best tree, but I'll go more about the veterancy at the end when this part of the training is over. That's all I got for the Spear Sergeants. These are also one of the other things that somebody had asked me is these are the ones that count for the Tower Guards and the Eastern Shield units. So if you need to take a lot of damage, these guys soak it up pretty good. Like I said, they actually have higher hit points than any of the other shield walls. Their defenses and their block rating and that other stuff isn't quite as good, but you can actually get their hit points up pretty high. Does anybody have questions about this unit here? Okay, yeah, that's true. Sorry, I'm reading Discord. The weakness is here, and I know that you that are watching live can't see, but they don't have the line formation, so that is their only weakness. I almost never use the line formation because I think that, with few exceptions, it's not the best form, which I've actually talked about in some of my other training. And if people still want to hear about it, I'll go ahead and go over that later on after the recording. Last quick time for questions over Iron Cap Spear. Make sure nobody's typing. All right, we're good. All right, next up, I'm going to give the floor to Sky Obstacle. He's going to go over, I don't know which unit he has out yet, but he'll take it over from here.
Halberdiers first.
Halberdiers, okay, where are you at? Oh, I see you.
Yeah.
All right, so these are his bad guy Halberdiers coming at me.
Yeah, it's like a hidden gem in my opinion, just because their damage potential is insane. Last time I checked. Issue is they don't like if they get charged by something, they will probably lose. But if you have it behind a shield wall, they'll do more damage than a Halb Sergeant, just the normal Halbs. So this is kind of scary how they actually do it. And I'm not sure if anyone knows the difference between F1 and F2 formation, but the rule of thumb we use is basically F1 is just normal, and then let's say Cav is charging you, then you just scram and press and brace with number 2. And that's more of your you're like scrambling, like, oh shit, Cav coming at me, let's brace up. And this won't stop the Cav, but it'll be better than just being slammed in the face by them. And then for F2, which is the preferred formation, that will actually do the most damage to anything, but the issue is they have to be in this formation to actually like brace up. And let's say the terrain's like messy and you're in a corridor, like some of the guys, they have to like walk around the corner, the formation's weird, then they won't actually brace up till all the guys are in formation. So it is pretty finicky that way, but just the pure damage potential out of these guys is pretty ridiculous, in my opinion. And do not do this to stop Cav, because the Cav will run between the units. So like, the Cav will still break through the Halbs. It's not the greatest, but at lower, like, let's say for a siege, you want a low like damage output, my Halbs are my favorite. Love them. Someone wants to send a suicide unit at them, show it off, go for it.
Is it, somebody said they had a Cav unit. Is it low level?
Yeah, I can bring one out.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it out against the Halbs. I'll back it up a bit. Guys, let's move our units out of the way here. 1 sec, I'll just back it up.
Yeah, let me get over here.
Yeah, so charge this F2 formation. Some kids probably won't break through them. I'm guessing they're not going to break through.
Would you like a charge?
Yeah, go for it. There you go.
Clean.
So most of them died before they even got to the second guy, right? And I've only lost only 2 of my guys lost health.
Nice.
So yeah, Halberdiers are a low tier unit that can really put out the damage if you need it. Just a recommendation on that one. And heroes get melted by these things. Ridiculous. And for veterancy,
yep,
how much health you got? Half. Okay.
Half, but I'm also right now full tank. So
yeah.
If I wasn't full tank, that would have hurt a lot worse.
I'm trying to think what vet line I did. I think I went bottom. Anything that does brace is always the vet line I will go with.
Sky, it's full bottom, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, any questions on the Halbs?
I do.
Yep.
You mentioned the scram. Is that just basically pushing X in a different direction to get them out of that formation and then immediately brace?
Yeah, so just press F1.
Okay, so it's very
and
similar.
then it's more like if...
Sorry,
yeah.
go ahead. Okay, so it's very similar to kind of what I did on the Pike Militia for turning angles. You're just kind of turning it over there and then hitting the brace.
Yeah, it's because F2 takes time to brace. Well, the F1, if you actually use the brace ability in F1, it's much faster.
I got you.
So like, they can go and right away brace.
Okay.
But F2 is always better to have if you can.
Okay, and I agree that the brace line is definitely the way to go. But they do have a charge. Do you ever use that?
No. These guys do not have armor or health in any capacity, and if they charge, you better be charging with the rest of your team. But if you're trying to lead the way of the charge, that's useless.
Okay.
Never use it.
All right. Does anybody have any other questions about this unit? The halberds? Okay. We're both going to talk about the Fortebraccios. I think Sky, you can go ahead and swap out if you want. And
Yep.
I'll do the same.
Your unit is retreating.
So
But yeah, also with those. Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Also with those halbs, make sure like having a shield wall in front is kind of makes them like increases their potential by a lot. So teamwork helps can be very good.
I didn't see which one you went to. I see you now.
Oh, I pulled him out.
Yep. While he's running his into position, I'm just gonna. You can see down at the bottom they have 3 different formations. I'm sure he'll talk about them. If not, I will. The disperse, the line, and the block. I've currently got him in the block. Looks like from here he does too, but I can't tell for sure. Yep. All right, go ahead.
Just want to give me the. You want me to give the rundown on them?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I'll just pull them out here so I won't see them. So Fortebraccios, I consider them like one of the better defense units at the moment. Just because if you're smart, you have to be smart with them, right? But anything that comes in frontally will get demolished. And I'm still missing 1 vet line on them, which is the best ability where they can attack two targets with 1 stab. And like basically anything frontal on them will get demolished. And that's like Iron Reaper charge will fail against these guys head on. And even any cav will not break through either. Even Hussars will not break through. So they're really strong.
Oh, good. I hadn't tried with the SARS. Thanks.
Yeah, they stop Hussars too. Only in F3 formation though, not in F2 or F. And F3 is a bit condensed, but in a lot of siege maps, you can really use that to your advantage. Like if you're in a hallway or a corridor, really angle them so it's like, let's say they have to walk through, they'll walk through and go right into the pikes. Or if you're holding a gate, you put them on either side of the gate, and then the enemy can't walk through because the pikes will actually like cover the whole gate, even if your guys are behind the wall and nobody can see them. Right? So that is a very strong aspect of them. And then F2 formation here, which is basically a line formation, 2 deep. This, I find it useful if I have to. I will personally always go F3. F2 will be good. Let's say I have a shield wall. If one of the shield walls or beats, you can put yours in front of me. Line formation. Yeah. So just in line formation, like this F2 is when I'll use it. Just because I know I'll have the block break from the shields. The block from the shield, and then my pikes can just do all the damage right through that. But then preferably, I would always go F3 and then beats form square. And this is the most ideal formation you can get on Fortebraccios. They fit perfectly inside of a square, and they just stab everything without being touched. And their vet line is top. That would be the one I highly recommend. Anything you want to add, Talamir?
No, pretty much all the same thing. It's just the main difference is that, or the thing that I also wanted to cover is that you can kind of use them offensively. So, for example, let's say you can see Otter was taking some damage there, probably had Ironsides up. But so when I move, they're going to stop being in that formation. And you can see that they pull their pikes all the way up, and they have to set them all the way down before they start really doing any kind of damage. So one of the things that I mess up a lot is I'll overextend. Say, for example, where the grass ends up here is the enemy shield line. So I'll want to go and I'm going to move them over here, so just watch out when they move. So this would be ideal. Let's say that was the enemy shield wall a little bit before, but let's just say they had pushed forward, so now this front line didn't brace, so now they're getting knocked around. What I'll use my hero for is actually to clear this area to get that first set to begin to go into brace formation. So, for example, I've got longsword now, so I would hit my ultimate, and just kind of clear this area out. If I had, I'd do the belly flop if I was short sword with the spear. I would come in here and I use Dragon's Roar, which is the spinny, just to kind of clear out the first ones, so that these first lines, if I go too far up, because if you stop, let's say I was too far forward and they're having problems bracing, and then I wanted to do this, then all of them put their damn pike up again. So that by clearing the area with my hero, I make it so that the back 3 lines don't have to get up. There is no fast way to like pike militia where you can. I'm gonna turn to their right here in a minute, so don't pull an otter. So if it was coming, that's about how long it takes. That's not too bad, but it's a lot slower than pike militia, and for that matter, halberds, as far as the bracing in a different direction.
In a battle, that time is crucial.
Yes.
Agree.
So
And
go ahead.
do you know about the just pressing V right now?
Go ahead.
They all attack at once.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Works.
I don't want to push it and catch anybody else.
Oh no! So yeah, basically I can explain it. It's basically like, let's say there's a hero nearby, like over here, staying far away. You'll press V, and they'll all attack on the first swing at once, and that will insta kill a hero if all of them hit.
Oh, nice.
So if they're a bit out of range, just press that V when they're gone.
Okay, I don't actually want to kill anybody right now.
Yeah, but you guys can try it out
You can do me.
later on.
You have iron sides you can take.
Oh yeah. Damage. No, they form. Yeah, so press X right over him, and then just press V. Mop him up. Press V. No, they're attacking us.
Yeah. I think we all get it though.
Yeah.
I braced, by the way. I didn't want to kill anybody. So, does anybody have questions on the Fortebraccio? Does anybody have an official way how to pronounce them properly? Fortebraccio it is.
Fortebraccio.
Yeah, what's up back you?
Okay. All right. I'll buy that.
No, the official though is fettuccine.
Yes.
I like it. So the other thing and this actually goes for all pike and halberds, is the Z-axis gives them great challenges, and the Z-axis is the up and down, so they're kind of challenging if you're trying to defend the top of stairs, because I have a hard time with them. If there's not a flat spot before, people can kind of sneak up underneath them. I don't know if you've noticed the same thing or not.
Yeah, any pike unit stairs are pretty hard for them.
Yep. All right, that was about it for the units that we're going to discuss. Did you want to? You said you want to do a test with Imperials?
Oh yeah. Do you have?
I'm getting them. I don't remember what test you wanted to do. I just know that you said
Just
that-
charge them head on. I want to see if they beat me.
Okay.
You can get out of the way here, BT.
The Fortebraccios, yeah.
The unit
Yeah.
is retreating.
Which formation you want them in?
F3. Oh, you for you, anything condensed if you can most. I feel like F1 works, or even if you want to try F2.
Okay, whichever one you want.
Let's do F2. Let's try that out.
All right.
Line them up and do it.
Bye-bye.
So, and then my Imperial, just to make sure I'm in range, I'm going to try to sneak a little closer. But, and I want to try something else out as well. I'm going to actually hit my speed to see if it works. I've been told it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
My speed boost, just to see if it helps their advanced speed. So,
1 minute 30.
Yep, thank you. This is the last thing we're doing in this battle. So I'm going to do, what I'm doing now is I have maxed out Imperial Spear Guards, and I'm going to march them into the Fortebraccio and see which one is more better.
Hold position. Advance.
I don't know if they look like they're going faster or not.
I think
The
they.
ones in the middle are definitely going faster.
Yeah,
I think so
for
too.
sure. And there you go. Counter to the Fortebraccios.
There you go.
Yeah, because they knock me down, right, and that gets rid of the pikes. So
Yeah, and just so everybody knows, I lost one Imperial Pike. I've got 5 or 6 that are in the red, and probably.
I'm sweating balls over here.
Well, I guess you guys can all see the video, so I guess I'm
Yeah.
going to call it out. So
Yeah,
now
I've
we know.
lost
Sorry, go ahead.
5, and half of them are half health. So
I'd be interested to test it again when we do when you get a max for that double tap, just to see if that makes
Yeah.
that much of a difference.
mhm.
So now I'm going to march again without the speed boost and see if there's a big difference. So if you're red, you might not want to be in front of these guys.
Advance!
It was faster, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And it doesn't work. I know that it doesn't work if they're already going. Actually,
Yeah, it does.
kind of looked like it did, didn't it?
Yeah, I thought it did.
Totally did.
Position!
Huh. All right. So the speed boost works for advance, which I never knew. I didn't know if you guys knew that before, but I didn't.
Now we do.
New meta, longsword with Imperial Pike.
Please no.
Don't. They're gonna
Cancel
nerf
so
it
many
again.
deaths.
Yeah, no shit.
Dude,
Right?
I have to cancel so many death marches
Oh,
every
3-minute cooldown.
territory war.
Oh,
Don't
who
say.
had stuff in their wagon? I have things.
No.
21
Don't say
Couturier kits.
any-
Who had those?
No, those are mine.
Okay. So I had mentioned that I was going to go over some stats on the Iron Cap. I'll go ahead and do that now. Let's see. Oh no, my units are wounded. There we go. So if you look, and I just have green stuff except for I have blunt damage. I just grabbed doctrines and put it on them. Looks like I've got piercing, damage, resistance, and penetration, and then the 200 hit point one. So if you look at their stats, here you go. And this is the veteran tree that I went down. I went bottom to get that extra 10% health. It does reduce damage dealt. And then you get the 3% here and the 3% here. And as you can see, the 3% ends up giving you, just out of the 3%, 258. So by going this way, you get a total of 1,400 extra hit points by getting the 10 and the 2 3s here that you can get. I don't know if this is the best way to go because at the end of the top line is 4 more to the unit, and I think that might be better off, especially since they have a little bit wider formation. So that's something to consider. I think it's perfectly fine to go to the top row. I think that gives you 2 more at the end, so that's what I did for the Iron Cap Spearmen. As you can see, they've got 10,456 for the hit points. And if you give me a minute, I'll show you that my Imperial, which have 360 hit point, they have just over 10,000. And why do I keep doing that? I have the 360 hit point here, and it's got 10,062. So the Iron Cap, if you go that route, can actually get more hit points. I still think that it's probably better to go the top, just because I'll show you why actually. So in the top, obviously you would get all the way to here, so you would gain 6% hit points here, and lose 10% hit points here. Or sorry, so a total of 4 difference. You also gain the 160 to block, which is pretty big. You also gain that's trash, but you get 4 units, and I believe, let me do the math real quick. Yeah, it takes 14 to go to the top, which gives you 2 left over. And then I would probably put the 2 down here to make it so that you take 20% less for range. You can also do reduce damage taken when armor pierced, but I would probably go with the range since that's really their role, since they're not going to be doing any damage. As you can see over here on the right, their damage is pretty trash. Not a unit I would use in territory war, but it is a unit that until you get one of those 4-star shield walls, that I think is a sleeper unit because of the 175 leadership. Cool. And then the halberd. Was there anything you wanted to show the tree on the halberds? Is that right?
Sure, if you want to pull it up.
Yeah. And he said he went the bottom, which is all the brace line here.
Mm-hmm.
So yep, confirm that it's the bottom.
Yeah. The top line is just charge a bit. Yeah. Bottom's.
I agree. That's when I was using them. That's what I did. That's it for the open field stuff. So if you guys have better stuff to do, you guys can head out. I'm gonna actually go over ways to increase your experience now. Before I move on, does anybody have any questions over the units that we used? We're not saying that these are the kings of the meta. We're just saying that these are oft overlooked in a way to you can use it because they're cheaper than at least some of the other units. The 4 and 5 star units, but they still punch well above their weight class and can help gain you honor and bronze.
What units would you say counter the Imperial Pike?
Mostly that's heroes and moving because they're so slow. That's the best way to counter the Imperial Pike. The higher level units, now that the Imperial Pike don't punch through so much, they don't take quite as much damage. So, for example, I don't get too worried when I have my Imperial Spear Guards. I don't know if that's because I have the maxed honor upgrades, but they don't really kill too many of them, especially after the second tick of them going, they do that little weird jiggle because they're getting hit. I'll start my heal over time, and by the end, I rarely have lost a unit. Depends on what their hero's doing.
Running Imperial Pikes is like, you're running your Imperial Pikes into an Imperial Spear Wall is like running them into a brick wall.
So that to me is a good counter. Obviously ranged as with any unshielded melee, that works well. Muskets I think are the best because of the penetration. Good question. Any other questions? All right. So moving on, I did bring, and I should have brought them out just for looksies, but I didn't. So I have the Hammer Bros. I was going to show them off, but I guess I'll just do it from the barracks. This is a mercenary unit. It's not good at anything except for pushing, what's it called, the siege engines. I have found, and I don't know if anybody else here has them, and it seems like and I haven't, this is not a scientific test. I didn't test with and without, but my experience pushing siege, it seems like they can take 2 to 3 more volleys depending on the quality of the cannon or culverin hitting it, just by pushing it. I've heard as many as 5, but I haven't experienced that personally. Does anybody else kind of run any kind of testing with them? All right.
Sorry, which unit?
I call them the Hammer Bros, the Metellatori.
Oh, yeah, they're. What else were you curious about? No.
So they're not really good at anything. The only thing they're good at is pushing siege. And that it seems like when they are pushing the siege will get a nice little glowing shield above it, and it seems like it can take 2 to 4 volleys more to kill it. Like the tower or whatever you're pushing.
Yeah, 10% more health and 10% faster moving speed.
Okay, there you go. But the main reason why I use them is because for this season, they take 30 leadership, and they give the 10% bonus. So one of the obvious ways to gain more experience or to level your troops up faster is, I think this is it. Yeah, right here. Just to use a mercenary unit. I believe the Metellatori are the best mercenary unit, not because they're the most useful in battle, but because they're the cheapest with honor. So they really don't mess up your lineup. All you need is about 30 extra leadership, and you can still bring your main lineup. That gives 10% XP to the units, also 10% more honor, so that's good. The other thing that is good to go is premium, and I'll have to be in the city for that, and I need to get there anyway. So premium gives you 30% bonus to those things. So those are the 2 easiest and kind of cheesiest ways to help your experience. The real benefit of the mercenaries, in my opinion, is it's a one-time purchase, and you don't have to worry about doing rekitting them because they have their own kits. So you buy them once and you're done with them. So not only does it, where is it? On Spotlight, there it is. So not only do they give you 10% bonus experience to the rest of the units. They also don't take a cut of the experience because they're max level. All mercenaries start off at max level, and with all the veterans. So they're cheaper. They give you more money to begin with, and then they also don't take up experience, and they give you that bonus experience. And here in a minute, I'll go a little bit more into not taking up a slot. So let's just, I'll run up there and pretend like I'm going to go into, actually I'll do it with my warband. Sure I got, yeah, here we go. So at the end of season 2, I ran where I only did 3-star units. I actually swapped this out, so that's why I have the extra honor. 3-star units and below, and just to test it out, that's actually how I leveled up my Iron Cap Spearmen and found out that they don't suck as bad as everybody thinks. So I would run this, and excuse me, sorry about that. I do realize that the conditori weren't there, but I swapped them out to level them up. I think I had the crossbow in here. No, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyway, when I level them up, so this is one of the units. That's my mercenary unit. So I like easy math. So let's say I earned 1,000 experience. So each unit would get, because there's 5 of them, would get 200 experience. This unit doesn't get experience because it's max level. So the other 4 units, instead of getting 200 experience, would get 250 experience. Now let's say my Rattan marksmen were max level, and then that 1,000 gets divided up amongst these 3, and they get, a third, 333 experience, and so on and so forth. To where if there's only one unit getting experience, it doesn't matter how many you have, they get all the experience. So if I brought out all my units and they all died and did work, and I earned 1,000 experience, if all these were maxed except for my Iron Cap Spearmen would get all 1,000 of the experience. Does everybody understand that? All right, cool. So in previous videos and previous trainings, I've always said never stop bringing your pike militia and your Couturiers. It's ironic that I pulled up a one that doesn't have pike militia in it. But the main reason why I say to bring those up is because 1, they're cheap, 2, they're easy to level, and 3, they give you good experience. They will perform well in battle in order, because that's how you get experience, by killing units and heroes and things like that. So they give you the good experience, and they're easy to max level. So once you get them max level, we'll just remove this and I'll make it legit. So I have my pike militia and my Couturiers in here. So now I only would have 2 units getting experience because this is a mercenary. So every time I go out into battle, I'm not wasting time getting experience with, if you go to the unit tree, as you, for example, we'll say that I got pike militia, I like them. So I bought the prefecture pikemen, but I really want the Imperial pike. You guys saw me use those as well. So do I need to be leveling these guys if I'm not going to use them? Not really. So I could just buy them and then skip and go to this, the Imperial pike, which I do want. And while I'm doing it, I can use my pike militia and my Couturiers to help level them. So I'm funneling all the experience into one unit. I know in a previous video I talked about Iron Cap Swordsmen and why I don't think that they're worth getting. Yes, they fit all the roles that I had mentioned. They are easy to level up. They punch above their weight class, and they can get you some kills, which will get you experience, and they're cheap. So they do work for that. However, it's a dead-end line, and if you're not going to use them once passed, then you don't need to. Always, even at, whatever, the higher levels here will probably agree with me that pike militia, if you've got 110 leadership left over, is about as good as it gets.
Oh yeah.
For what you can bring with to a battle. So as you level up other troops, for example, my Imperial pike take 140 leaders or 240 leadership versus the 230 here. That all allows you to manipulate your leadership total going in to get experience. That's why I like the pike militia. Couturiers are the same thing. If let's say I'm leveling a 350 unit, a 5-star unit, so that's 350, and I'm going to bring my pike militia, so that's 460, and then I'm going to bring my the mercenary unit. So now I'm up to 490. So that only leaves me 210 leadership left over. What am I going to do with that? Well, I can put another trash unit in, or I can put Couturiers and a trash unit in. So that's basically really what it's all. To me, why I recommend Pike Militia and Couturiers is because you can swap them out if you have an extra 20 leadership and try something different. I've seen charts going around, people recommending going and doing AI and all that other stuff. Everything in the game is a currency, including your time. So the reason why I don't recommend going and doing Expedition 3s, or I've seen people recommend doing AI battles and things like that, is because part of the experience that makes a unit well is your experience playing it. And I don't mean experience points to level them up. I mean experience as far as the flesh behind the tune, actually playing the character and playing it well. In AI battles, the enemy doesn't brace, they don't do advanced tactics, and they don't do any sneak attacks. They just go straight from point A to go attack you. So you're not really learning the weaknesses and strengths of the unit. So that's one good reason. The other is the honor is less, and you get more honor, and when you're going into siege battles and field battles and things like that. So, although if you're looking specifically for a purpose of getting experience, XP3s aren't that bad. And XP3 means Expedition 3. Thank you. They're not bad for experience, but they're bad for the player, I think. Half the time when I see people charge into my Pike, I don't know what they're doing, and it's probably because they played Expedition 3 where the Pike don't brace. Has anybody got questions about experience, or actually any of the other senior guys in here got any tricks that they like to use for leveling up units?
You basically covered it. Just like using, like, if I know free battles, I usually buy the 10 XP cards for the units, just because I usually play all the free battles. That's really the only thing I do different.
That's a good point. I did forget to bring up the XP cards. So that's another way to... And all those things stack, by the way. The XP cards, the mercenary unit, and the premium. They all stack. All right. Any questions about experience? Cool. Any questions about anything? That's pretty much the topic for today. So I'll open it up for anything else. Cool. Hearing nothing. Let me know if there's topics you want to go over for next week. I'm trying to line up Rand class to go over Keshigs. So hopefully he'll be here and do a little short blurb for next week. Thanks everybody for attending. If you got questions, you can post them in the chat or hit me up directly. Either way is good. And thanks again for Black Shirts for coming and helping out.
No worries. Always a pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Sweet.
See you guys next week.